Hey, this is Scott of photographybounza.com. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about manual mode with the D7000, also with D600 and similar cameras of the Nikon lineup. Might be a little slightly different with other cameras, but most likely very similar or the same. I do a lot of flash photography, full manual at conventions and such. And I was trying to figure out a good setup to deal with that. So I used one of my custom user settings to have a full manual setup. A few interesting points that I figured out. First off, just full manual. I have it set to half stops. It's quicker. There aren't as many things to think about or deal with, so I just prefer to use the half stops right now at my current, effort and skill level. A little easier that way. You can see some of them are a bit unusual, like f3.3, f4, f4.8, f5.6, f6.7, f8. So you miss a few, but especially with the D7000 that has 1/250th of a second maximum flash sync speed, so it goes right to 250th. Now with my D600, it doesn't have that. However, I've still been using the half stops just because it's easier. I don't really need the 200th of a second over 1/180th of a second. So full manual with flash, I have it set to 1/180th of a second, just to start off, and then f2.8. Most of my lenses are fast enough for that, and just standard metering. But what I do, especially with this, because when you're shooting flash, you usually want to underexpose by 1, 2, 3 stops or whatever to take that ambient down. So what I do is I have a default negative exposure compensation. So you've got your meter. When you set that negative exposure compensation, the center will mean you are actually at -1 EV. If you set it even further, it'll be -2 or whatever you want. So that allows you to get some detail here, because if you're past 2 stops, you won't see it on the meter. You'll get a little arrow or something. But if you want more detail, and you will always or very often be -1, -2, -3, you'll set the exposure, the compensation here, to whatever you want it to be defaulted as. So it's a very helpful feature in full manual situations with flash.